Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kieran. Today I'm going to be talking about some issues I have with my current rental property. I am a renter and my landlord is called QUINTAIN Living. Now I live in their Canada Gardens development. I think that's what they call project, not too sure, the building of Canada Gardens. This is advertised as luxury apartments, so some of the things in here are going to be quite I am going to be quite picky, because obviously luxury, you would think we're spending extra money for these higher end services, and I just wanted to talk about what we actually get and some of the issues that we actually have to deal with these luxury apartments. Now I have been living here since October, so it's nearly 10 months, and so I feel like it's a good time to sort of make this video, not just living here for a month and then complaining. It's been 10 months, so I thought it would be a good idea just to put all the issues into a video, because I did make a video when I first moved in about how nice the apartment is and about how nice the complex is. So if you want to watch that, I'll put a link somewhere and then you can click onto that. Then maybe you want to come back and watch this, or you maybe want to watch all the bad first and then go and watch the good. So the first thing that I do want to say, and I sort of have an issue with, is the price of our communal areas. Now our communal areas are first come first serve, in terms of if no one has booked a communal area, whoever gets there first gets to keep it for as long as possible. Obviously a lot of these areas are large in space, so more than one group of people can go. I have had a bit of a problem where I've wanted to have friends over. My apartment's too small, it's a one bedroom, and I thought, okay, let's go and use a communal space. To book it, you needed to book 2 hours in advance, and to book it for 1 hour for the communal lounge area is £50. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone. It's £50 per hour, but you have a minimum of 2 hours booking, so it's £100 just for 2 hours, just to have friends over. Obviously I'm not going to pay that, so I did try to go down to the communal room and even to the concierge and ask them, can I have this? They said no, because someone else had pre-booked it, so I just had to have friends in my apartment. Now that is just first world problems. Obviously it's not a huge issue, but these communal areas are a fortune just for a small room. £50 just seems like a lot of money. Barbecues as well, I had an issue with renting those. When we rent out our barbecues, you actually are given a key, so you're supposed to plug the key into a barbecue, and then you've got that for I think around an hour or 2 hour slot. Now on Friday when we came to use this, that wasn't the case. The barbecue that we had booked out actually didn't have a key. A resident kept the key, and of course some residents keep the key, so it means whenever they want to use the barbecue they can go down and use it at will, but obviously it's not fair. So another little complaint is having some bad residents. Now some, I would say literally probably a handful. I've came across none of them, to be honest. I love all the residents that I've came in contact with. They're super nice, friendly, talk away. We've went out and had drinks, we've met new friends, so it has been an awesome experience as well. The second thing, car parking. So we do live in a luxury apartment. I thought car parking would have at least came with the apartment, or I would have gotten bigger discount, because being around Wembley Stadium there's lots of car parking areas, and they're pretty much the exact same price as our underground car park. So it's slightly confusing, but yet again I don't have a car, so I don't have much to complain about here. But you would think if I did want a car, I would have to spend an extra £150 a month on top of what I already pay in rent. So I thought, or I think, that QUINTAIN should do something better for residents with cars, especially cost of living, who has an extra £150 a month on top of all the rising costs of living. That should be a good idea. Now obviously if you get a car, it's on you, but I just think luxury apartments, give the tenants something extra with that apartment. Number 3, the issues with noise. Now thankfully we don't have too many complaints in terms of if you live further back in some of the apartments. There is a train line that goes through, and they usually go through midnight carrying cargo. You can imagine a loud, heavy train going past around 12 a.m. every single night isn't really that good. In addition to the noise complaints, we live by the main road. Obviously after game days and after events, it does get loud with a lot of beeping and cars just driving past. Obviously event days are very few and far between, so I don't really mind personally. However, we do have these guys that, I don't know why, but people with these really loud exhausts just always drive by. I'm not too sure, because there's a student complex and they want to flex. I have absolutely no idea. But there is also a mechanics just outside our window. We didn't know that, and a lot of the time the engines are revved up at all hours of the day and night. So noise complaints, there is a little bit of noise. Now I'm very fortunate where my noise is just to do with cars. As I said before, there is a train station, so before you move in, make sure you double check with the agent, the apartment that you're checking with, and that agent, that you ask about the train station and if you can hear noise. Now, we do live across from students, so of course students being students, on nights out they come home, they're loud, they're rowdy, but yet again, I was a student, so that I understand with, and that's just dealing with living in a city. Fourth issue I've had, now we live just above and across the road, an industrial estate, so we actually get a lot of dust in our apartment. Now I do have a dog here. When my wife visits, she brings my dog over. However, he doesn't shed as much as the amount of dust that gets in our apartment. I would vacuum at least once a day, and there's just dust galore. Anytime I vacuum, I would literally put away the vacuum, and then all of a sudden I turn into a corner and look down, more dust. It is really bad for dust here, so if you are moving in and if you do have a phobia of dust, I don't have a phobia, but I hate not having a clean floor, then just double check that as well. Problem number 5. Now this is actually sort of what's the word? I sort of contradict myself a little bit here. So it is to do with the heating. Now during the winter, it actually stayed between 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. Now in London, it doesn't really get that cold. So it was fairly warm. I could walk around my apartment pretty much all winter in a t-shirt and shorts. So that was lovely. And it was no extra cost. So I never actually turned on my heating. That's just natural heat. The reason why it's natural heat is because I live on the 8th floor. So all the apartments down below that had their heating on, it obviously rises, and higher up you go, the heat goes up. Lovely, easy. Now during the summer, it has been between around 24 right through to 27, 28, which is very, very hot. Now we have no aircon, so that's sort of the issue I have here. There are no aircon, fence, there are nothing. I did speak to someone that actually works in construction, and they said that there's a bit of my roof where technically they have a huge air duct, so I'm kind of confused why they never actually put some air vents in. Obviously it could just be an issue with some maintenance, or I'm not too sure, but as a luxury apartment, I'm not sure why they wouldn't have AC if they do have heating. Obviously we live in a country where it's not always going to be ridiculously hot, but with Friday being one of the hottest days of the year, and in some parts of England it was supposed to be the hottest day ever recorded. Obviously open windows, open doors, we actually don't have enough airflow to cool down the apartment, so AC would be sort of the next thing that I would say on the apartments, or to Quintain, that they would need to install in order for it to actually be a luxury apartment. Now obviously, as I've said before, these are me being nitpicky, I obviously understand I can live without aircon, I can buy a fan. I did buy a fan, but obviously first world problems, luxury apartment problems, so let's move on. Okay, number 6, the biggest issue that Quintain have is the Wi-Fi. Now, this has been going on for months.
Wow.
And I knew one of the residents that lived here before that, and he has lived here for around a year or two beforehand, and he has said it's always been an issue. The Wi-Fi is literally terrible, and the reason why this is important is the residents are promised before, when they sign a contract, it's free Wi-Fi and it's high speed, etc. Now, you can purchase a premium service, however when it's marketed to us, it's seen as free Wi-Fi. Now, when you expect free Wi-Fi, you expect the Wi-Fi to work. Many a times it does not. The residents actually took on Quintain Living because nothing was being done. Quintain Living went from 4-point-something stars on TripAdvisor right down to nearly, I think it actually reached 2-point-something stars, but then back up to 3 or 4 stars. This was a huge sort of rebellion from the tenants because we were told when we signed our contract you get free Wi-Fi. Now, what happened when TP Wi-Fi didn't work? We were told to connect to Wembley free Wi-Fi, which of course is just terrible. Now, they did say, well, if you want faster Wi-Fi, then pay that premium service, but it was marketed to us that we get free Wi-Fi. And when I say the Wi-Fi doesn't work, every single time I turn on my PlayStation, I have to reconnect to the Wi-Fi. My phone, I usually just use data because it's terrible. My wife, who when she comes over is on meetings needing Zoom and Microsoft Teams, she's disconnected pretty much from every single meeting. It is beyond terrible. They have released, some chief director of operations or something along those titles released an email saying that he promises that all of these things will be fixed. Of course, it's been 2 months or a month since this whole rebellion, and Wi-Fi is still beyond terrible. Terrible is the only adjective that I can use that is PG friendly, but it is absolutely dreadful. So if you do think, oh, this is a great work from home place, it is if you don't require Wi-Fi, which I don't know about you, but I'm not too sure that I know any jobs that don't require Wi-Fi nowadays. So unfortunately, it is extremely important to understand that the Wi-Fi, you're more than likely, if you're going to need Wi-Fi for your job and you do work from home, or you just want to go and watch Netflix without buffering, then you're probably going to have to pay for premium service. So a huge issue. This is probably the worst issue in the whole thing, because you're expecting to have Wi-Fi in your apartment. They say you get free Wi-Fi, they say it's this fast whatever fiber broadband, and then when you complain about it, they say, well, why don't you pay for premium? So yeah, what a great way to benefit tenants. Number 7, number 7, this complaint I have, and it's just personally. So I worked for a housing organisation or a housing association for 2 to 3 years, and a housing association basically houses those people that might not be able to afford their own rental property via deposits and all these other things. So you can go through your council estate, or you can go through your local MP or whatever you want, or you can just apply for it if you're on these universal credits, etc., and you will be housed in a rental property. Now, whenever we had new tenants move in, we always gave them a welcome package with 2 cups, with a little card saying congratulations on moving in. We actually gave them a little pack of coffee. Now, this little pack of coffee probably cost about 50p. We give them a little set of house keys, like a fob for our fob that we put on. And by a house key, I would just mean a fob. And there was these little small things, and like a biscuit to go with the coffee. These small little packages for a housing organisation or association to pay for per tenant probably cost about £15. Now there was pens in it, there was little books, there was extra stuff that people might use on a day-to-day basis, but actually not just think of buying themselves. Now obviously coffee cups and things like that people would need to use. However, there was just that little extra thing for those residents, tenants, and here there was nothing. So when I moved into the apartment, I wasn't even greeted with the agent. I had to go to the concierge, and they just gave me my fob and basically said good luck. They were like, okay, you know where your apartment is? And I was like, maybe. So I found my way up to the apartment, but there was no introduction at all. I was shown around the first day by the agent. They didn't even show me where the bin chute was, and it was just a horrible experience in terms of in a luxury situation. Now we were giving social housing tenants that. Now I'm not saying that they're beneath anyone or anything like that. What I am saying is, if someone offers a luxury experience, then make it luxurious. Those little things go a long way, and I knew when I moved people into houses how much people were like surprised, and they felt a bit of joy thinking, oh well, we got something, like this is a nice landlord, this isn't a landlord that's out to get me. Whereas here they actually don't do too much for the residents, and that was just a huge no-no for me, just personally, because obviously I dealt with that a lot, and I just thought, you know what, Quintain, there was something so small could go a long way in terms of making your service much better. Number 8 this time, held up 8 fingers. Well, technically, what's that? 6 fingers, 2 thumbs. Anyway, the last thing that I have to have a talk about is the bins, is the garbage. We have these little tiny square chutes that only, I think it's 20 litres or 40 litres or something. It's something ridiculously small. Not even a half of a black bag or like a garbage bag can actually get put into them. They're useless and they're always full. Now I think when they started out, I think because they're small apartments, people with, I think whatever, the developers thought, well, they only need a bit of rubbish because they're going to be going out this way every single day. Absolutely pointless, because I don't take out a little bag every day. I wait until I fill up a big garbage bag. Now that's not an issue, because obviously we do have a place where we can store bigger bags, or not store, but put away bigger bags. Now this is where it gets diabolical. When we go to these stores, they're very much overused. There's rubbish everywhere, it stinks, and thankfully it's in a car park where you actually don't have to smell it anywhere, but it is usually horrible. There's usually about 12 different massive sort of skips inside of it where you can throw your garbage into. They're always full, so people just leave it on the floor. People don't really take care of it because obviously it's out of sight, out of mind. However, if the bin chutes inside of each apartment were just bigger and better, that would eradicate that situation. Now thankfully I'm not in a building where at the end of my corridor there are bin chutes, because that means the whole hallway would stink. There are no windows, there are no ways of circulating that air apart from the lift and maybe us residents opening our doors, but obviously we would want to circulate air if it stinks. But ours are on the bottom floor, the ground floor, and as I'm walking out I can just put them out. Now there are 3 waste disposals: food, recycling, and of course just general non-recyclable waste. And to be honest, it's just always full, so of course I have to take my rubbish and I can never put it in those chutes, so I always have to walk around. Now it doesn't bother me, it's about a 30 to 40 second walk, but it is a huge issue in terms of just their waste disposal. It's absolutely abysmal. Now obviously all these complaints are just from me personally. Always make sure that you come, if you're moving here, check it out. I'm obviously just alerting you to some things that hopefully, if anyone's moving into these apartments, or if you just like people watching people complain, I hope you learn something about these apartments if you ever visit London. But I am saying that, or what I am saying, sorry, is that you should always double check all the little things. Now, thankfully, I've never been turned off these apartments. I still love this apartment. Wi-Fi could be better, rubbish could be better, but all those little picky stuff, that hasn't impacted my life at all. Wi-Fi, yes, if I want to watch Netflix when my wife's working, it just buffers all the time. It's terrible. However, first world problems, it literally water off a duck's back, doesn't bother me at all. So I hope you don't think I'm just like this huge complainer, which to be honest I do love complaining. My wife knows that very well. However, I just thought if you are moving into these apartments, it would be a nice thing for you to just sort of get a bit of background. If you are asking one of these agents, okay, well, does the train go by this apartment? If the agent says, oh well, I'm not too sure, then basically say, I want more information or a new agent, because there are some things that are important in the terms of you living here for 2 to 3 years. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you're a resident, have you had any of these problems, what you think is the worst problem, are there any more issues that I didn't deal with here, or if you are moving here, then give me a comment, ask me a question, whatever. Hopefully I can get back to you. I'm very bad with technology in terms of replying, but I will try my best. And of course, subscribe to the channel, it means a lot, and hopefully I can just get more motivation to release more videos for you guys. Thanks, have a nice day, bye.